Hey guys, it's Peter Cunha, broker owner of Open Doors Realty. I have a special guest. I'm going to leave it at this. And you know you're special because this is your second time on the program. Josh
Returning champion.
Josh Rothenberg from Liberty Payroll. How you doing, bud?
I'm awesome, Peter. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back.
Yeah, so we specifically we talked about ERC last time we did one of these
Yep.
podcasts. I wanted to get more kind of to know you a little bit personally because some people did ask me, "Hey, who's this guy, Josh?" I know you've helped a couple of my
Were
friends.
any of them women?
No, I don't have. My wife would kill me if I had those sort of friends. Anyway, what I wanted to get to is like, the ERC, is that still going on?
Absolutely. It's still going on. It's still a big part of what I'm doing. What's nice is those leads are becoming more or coming in more organically now. Where payroll, I'm still working to get those leads, but the ERC is finding us, which is really good through my network, through our marketing efforts. Those leads are coming to us, which has been fantastic.
And that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You were talking about Liberty Payroll, and it's like I never, when I opened up the brokerage, I never really thought about it because I was going to be the skeleton crew. We are going to work out of a closet, and then,
Yep.
then first hire is always that admin that you want to do properly. We went through the whole process, and you've made that whole process so easy for me. There's I mean, I don't know anything about HR, right? Other than I want to stay compliant. I don't want to get sued for something stupid,
That's it.
and that was really important for me. And I think the trust factor, just like real estate, is the same thing. There's tons of payroll companies. Who are you going to go to, right? The company that is, the brand name. And again, I only know Liberty Payroll because of you. And I know that there's bigger companies out there. But because I haven't been in a corporate environment, I don't really know who they are, right? I think
Yeah.
it's ADP, whatever.
Sure.
And you guys just seem to provide a better service. Like I get you on the phone, I get one of your colleagues on the phone. I'm not talking to a help center, somewhere else in the world. And that's really important to me, right? Because
Yep.
I want to be able to answer questions. I don't want to have to, hey, can I talk to your manager 3 times to get an answer that you can answer in 10 minutes.
Exactly. So I've been here for 13 years, and the number one selling point that I have is when you need us, you're going to get us.
Right.
During business hours, you call, you're going to get a live person on the phone. Every client has a dedicated rep. And I have to do a lot of hand holding. We deal with a lot of customers who are new to payroll, like you are, or are
Right.
coming back to payroll, or maybe did payroll themselves. And those clients need extra hand holding because it's new for them. Whereas the clients who have an existing payroll relationship, I love those because I don't have to train them at all. They still require a little bit of hand holding. But it's the clients like you, and I enjoy that. I enjoy helping them. That's what I'm here for, is to help clients navigate through that world so they don't get, number one, in trouble, and B, they pay their employees on time, because that's the number one goal.
Yeah, and that certainly was like an important strategy for me. We're talking a lot of shop here, but I really wanted, one of the things that helps me is I know you live in Marlboro. Have you always lived in Marlboro?
No, I've been there about 7.5 years.
Right.
I grew up right next door, actually less than 10 minutes away in Matawan. Then moved briefly to Monroe with family. And then I did the some of the most fun years of my life. I did 13 years in Jersey City. So I went to Jersey City with roommates in 2002, before Jersey City really gentrified and blew up, where there were still helicopters flying over our neighborhood on a nightly basis, and a bodega on every corner. And when that bodega on Monmouth Street turned into a yoga studio, I knew that things had changed. And it was a great place to live throughout my late 20s and into my 30s, with Hoboken next door. I had a whole group of friends that lived there. I had a great time. I was working in radio at the time, so it was like was almost like 10 extra years of college, living up in Jersey City and working.
Trust me, I know the feeling. I went to Pace University in the city, and I had a blast. And it's funny because you realize how old you're getting when your nephew just did one of the campus tours, and
Yeah.
like I would never go there, and I'm like, oh, all right, like, 30.
Yeah, I would have loved it when I was a kid. There's no chance I would go to school in the city now. No way.
Right. So do me a favor. How did you get into sales? How did you wind up at Liberty? You mentioned a little bit about the radio
Yeah.
background.
So I kind of fell into it. So college really wasn't for me. I think I'm a great story for anyone who kind of hasn't found their way yet, doesn't know what they want to do. Don't give up. So I went to college. I went to the University of Hartford out of high school as a physical therapy major. A colossal mistake that was I blame my parents for. I was 17. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. But the University of Hartford had like this 5 or 6 year physical therapy pre-med program. But I failed chemistry in high school. Science wasn't my thing. And I learned quickly that I needed to get out of there. My first anatomy lab class, they threw a cat in front of me that looked like the cat I had at home, an orange tabby on his back, like with his tongue sticking out. And I left. I couldn't do it. I'm like, no chance. So I had to restart what I was doing. And it took me a while to do that. I went back to school a few years later at Kean University in Union, and I lived there, which was a trip in the late 90s. That school's changed a lot since. And I had two roommates, one of whom has been my best friend for about 25 years. We're still very close. And he and his other friend did a radio show on campus there, and I joined them. And then the other guy dropped out, so I became host. And I was like, "This is what I like. I love talking. Obviously, so do you. We're in sales." In high school, I did TV work. Our high school had a TV station, and I love that. Doing the hosting a game show or doing an interview with a coach. I was really bad, but I had fun doing it. So after that, I stayed in radio and TV. I did jobs for MTV. I would get hired to do the Video Music Awards or the Super Bowl, all these different award shows. And then I got hired. I got lucky. I got a friend, someone I went to school with, got a job at Z100 it was in Jersey City at the time. And they got me an interview there, and I got hired for minimum wage as a phone producer, which is basically picking up the phones and taking requests from little kids and counting to 100 when they did a contest. Literally, Z100, you're caller number one, Z100, you're caller number two, literally counting to 100 and getting people ready for the air. It was so much fun. Z100 wasn't my musical style, but it's what I grew up on. I think every kid grew up on Z100. And it's just, it was a treat and a privilege to work there. After then, this was when Elvis Duran and the Z Morning Zoo was there.
Yep.
So I mean, we grew up on Scott and Todd. I grew up more on Howard Stern because that's what my dad listened to in the morning. But that music, and it was just an honor and a privilege to work there. I was there 8 years. I also got into promotions while I was there, which kind of led me on the sales track. Promotions, going to DJs in Belmar for a bar gig on a Thursday night. Going to a cell phone wireless store, Webster Hall, Club Z's on Saturday nights. Those were so much fun. I could never go to a club again because since I worked them, it's a very different feeling now. But Webster Hall on Saturday nights in the early 2000s was wild. It was a lot of fun.
So you don't know this about me, but I actually DJ'd in college myself.
I buy it. Anything you tell me, I would believe.
Pace University, I think it was called WPUB. We could only be heard in the cafeteria. So unlike you, when we gave away tickets to anybody, it would be like literally calling our friends. Can you call up the radio station?
Yeah.
We're giving away tickets. And then my roommate was he was a club promoter. So, we didn't do Webster Hall. We did more like the Limelight on alternative night, but
yeah.
we ran the same circles as you did.
So much fun. Yeah. At
Certainly
Kane,
was.
we had no listeners at Kane. There was a day where I tried to give away my buddy's car for the first person who called, and nobody called. So we had no listeners. We were doing it for ourselves. I don't think anyone knew that there was a radio station there. So promotions kind of got me into sales, but I also knew that I needed to grow up and find a real job. Jobs in radio were dying. There's just less and less of them. Podcast, not podcasts at the time, but iTunes and all these, and Napster and all these different methods really killed radio. So I answered a job as a telemarketer for a payroll company, and was really good at it. I booked 15 appointments a week as a telemarketer locally selling payroll. I don't think that anyone could do that now. The game has changed where cold calling just doesn't work that way anymore. And I was good at it, so I got into sales. Unfortunately, that company didn't last, and I ended up a few months later in December of 2009 interviewing at Liberty. Starting 2 weeks later, I hit it off with my boss, one of the owners of the company, and I really hit it off with the other owner as well. But we connected, and I love working for both of them. I've now been here 13 years. I envision myself being here 13 more and beyond if they'll have me. They're on the younger side, which is great. They're a little older than me, so they don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, and they're practicing CPAs, so they have a busy practice here. And all that talking in radio, selling a song, selling a brand when we'd go out to do a beer night, that was sales. I didn't realize it. Talking to customers all day long was sales. Um, so I kind of had a natural affinity for it. I have zero sales training. Like the ADP and paycheck salespeople go for intensive training. I had none of that. I just learned by, being myself, being a decent human being, doing the right thing for the customer, which is always number one. And I could probably be more aggressive and pushy, but that's not my style, to push clients into something they don't want.
See, and I want to piggyback on something like that because we come from the same universe. I have a finance background. I worked on Wall Street on a trading desk, and
Mhm.
again, we're buying and selling, stocks and equities, options, whatever it is, but the whole communication part of it. And then when I got into my first sales gig, it was the same thing. I'm like, "Nah, maybe I should have been doing this right out of the get-go, but
Yeah,
that's
me
that's
too.
what that's what your 20s and early 30s are for, are to make mistakes. So I don't look back at it and look at it as a
Well, yeah, those mistakes and those job experiences are what led me to where I am today.
Yeah, and the killer part is like I had a meeting with a guy that's he's a sales guy, he's a lender, and he's got all these routines, right? And it's like everything that I'm not, right? People hire me because of my personality. They know I'm good. I'm on your side. It's
Yep.
like, I hate to say it, but it's like, it's almost kind of like I get depressed when I close the deal because I don't get to see that person.
And you have to do paperwork.
Uh,
Hate paperwork.
Right. And again, I don't mind it. Like the paperwork's the easy part, right? Because naturally, it's like what's complicated, I kind of make it easy, I guess,
Yeah.
uh, for people. I hope I do. But it's like I love the relationship part of what I
Yeah.
do.
And your business is transactional where you sell them a house and then you may not see them ever again,
Right.
unless
I,
they're
I
buying another one or they're investing.
Right. And I don't ever want it to be that way. So like, it's like we were talking about this I guess like 2 weeks ago indirectly, but it's like what do you do differently, right? And it's like I look at a buyer and I say, okay, this is the house that you're buying today. Did you ever envision, having passive income where you might rent this house one day and buy a bigger house?
Hmm.
They're like scratching their heads. It's like, oh, we haven't really thought about this because we've never bought a house before.
Yep.
And I don't want to overcomplicate the thought process, but I want to plant that early seed
Absolutely.
that, hey, listen, we're going to build you generational wealth, where you can pass this on to your kids. Because let's face it, most people are buying houses because they're having a family or whatever it is. If their kids are going off to college, they don't need such a big house. Again,
Yep.
different scenarios, and even me, I'm 10 years in the future already. I'm buying a place in Portugal, right? And I know you work for a lot of Portuguese people.
Yeah. My office is owned by, we're in the Ironbound section of Newark. I'm there right now. Yep. I'm
What
surrounded.
what's your favorite restaurant over there?
Um, Casa de Paco.
Okay.
is a Spanish Portuguese tapas bar.
Okay.
It's kind of a hole in the wall place that a lot of people don't know about. It's fairly new in the last few years.
Okay.
And I love Fornos for a fancy dinner
Right.
or lunch. But we also have the best burger in New Jersey here in the Ironbound at Krug's Tavern.
Okay.
Is a client of ours, and that's one of the best non-Portuguese places here.
That's amazing.
We have some great places.
And the whole thing is like my parents are like simple farmers from Portugal. Like
Yeah,
God bless his soul, but he was always like, if I moved to Newark when I first came here, I would have moved right back to Portugal. So,
yeah.
it's
It's a little different. Yeah, it is. But you know what? They're very hardworking.
yep,
They're great with their families. They've built the business around here, not just the restaurant, is incredible.
right.
What people have built in their first generation, second generation, third generation, and it's really incredible because a lot of them don't live here anymore. They've built their wealth, they've built their business here, and now they've moved out to wealthy suburbs.
Right.
It's they're incredible people, really.
I do see a lot of that, right? People moving from, like you said, Newark and surrounding areas, and just say, like, what's the greatest thing? And it's how do you sell people on the beach?
That's easy.
Schools. Yeah, it's like, and you get more land, right? And you don't have the hustle and bustle. Even though we're hustling, bustling every day, it doesn't feel the same.
It's
Um,
different than working in the city, living in the city. Yes.
yeah. I wanted to hit another point. I know you do a lot of indirect charity work. Let's give a shout out to some of the things that you're involved in. You mentioned the
Yeah.
cats. I know that you have cats, and you're with
Yeah.
the SPCA and
I'm
stuff.
a crazy cat lady. Those ASCPA commercials get me every time. I donate time and money to my local animal shelter, Happy Homes. It's located in Old Bridge. I fostered kittens for them before. I've been completely overwhelmed by that. I had like 8 cats in my house one day last summer. It was a bit much, but they're wonderful. I got 2 of my cats from them. I donate to them whenever possible. They're great on social media where they put out needs that they have. St. Jude's is, I think, one of the best ones you could donate to. Again, those commercials get me. I'll be sitting at home and I see these poor kids, and how can you not donate? 'Cause you know what? The better you do in life, the more you have to give. If you couldn't afford it when you were younger, as you get older and you make more and you're doing better, it's important to take care of others. I do a monthly donation to Tunnels to Towers. Again, that was after watching a special after nine or before 9/11 on what they do. It's pretty incredible. So those are, it's animals, it's veterans. I do a little for the homeless too. We have a client that is a homeless shelter in Elizabeth. We try to gear some charitable work that the company does towards them with coat drives and whatnot. Then also, one of the owners is on the board of the Greater Newark Holiday Fund, and that's something we've been a part of for 7 to 8 years or so. And what they do is every holiday they fundraise, and the money that they raise goes to 11 local charities around our office. So I try to help them as much as possible with used to be marketing that I do for them, but not anymore. But as much as I can for them. It's important to give back. You're muted, Pete. I can't hear you.
Yeah, we're cut from the same cloth on that. I come from, if I can give 10%, I'm happy to do it, right? Because
Yep,
you'll see that, it's always it always comes back in multiples, right? Where you would least
absolutely.
expect it. And we continue doing it. And I know that we've been talking for a bit here. I always love picking your brain. This is my last kind of topic. I don't ever tell
Shoot.
people about it. Uh, I know you're a diehard Mets fan, so I don't
Yes.
want to talk about sports. What's the last concert you went to?
Man, the last concert I went to, oh, My Chemical Romance a few months ago at Prudential Center. It was awesome.
Now,
Um, yeah, it rocked. It was, the crowd was crazy. I was expecting not people my age, because when I got in, I was 25, almost 30 when I started listening to them. So I was expecting more 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. There are a lot of teenage kids there. And I think they've gotten into emo because to me, I'm a rock fan. I think rock is dead right now. I think it's in a pretty awful place with as far as new music goes. Popular rock, you know. I'm not talking about indie rock. That's always going to be fine. But for these kids to hear rock and roll, I don't think they get to hear it on the radio anymore. So they're listening to older stuff. You know, Nirvana's huge with kids. So it was wild to see. I think a lot of that comes from the Machine Gun Kelly influence with those pop punk emo bands that these kids have gotten into. But My Chemical Romance was a blast. It was a lot. They put on a great show. I hadn't been to one in a while before that. It's on my list for this year. I need to see more. I need to see Metallica for those 2 days where they're at MetLife, and
Right.
a bunch of I got to see Foo Fighters when they come out. They're touring again. So I'll get to some shows this summer. What about you? What was the last show?
Oh, last show was Jay and Portugal the Man.
All right, there you go. How
Yeah,
long
no,
ago?
no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Holy cow, that's totally a lie. Who did I just see? Oh my God, it'll come to me. I saw him at Terminal
This
5.
is all the stuff we did in the 90s, kids.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Coming
it's
back to haunt us.
Dashboard. They sing the song Dashboard. Oh, man,
Oh, Modest Mouse, the drummer just
Modest
passed
Mouse.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw Modest Mouse, and
Yeah, you saw him right before the drummer died. I remember that.
exactly.
They're
And
a
it's
great band.
and it's just like one of these, it's very indie, right? Like they're
Yep.
more into the art than they are the music, right? If you
Yep.
don't like the art, then don't listen to the music.
That's
And
Pavement for me. My favorite indie band is Pavement, always has been, always will be. And
okay,
they're back and they're touring again. I love them.
yeah, no, and you're telling me about like My Chemical Romance is usually like I see posters in kids' rooms, like you
Yeah.
said, the emo. It's dark,
Yeah.
it's got a red light, and it's like I grew up on The Cure, so it's like
Well,
replace.
yeah, there's Cure influences there for sure. He puts on a show. He's a very good frontman. They're from Jersey, all of them. It was a really fun show. I didn't know I knew a bunch of songs from them. I had more fun than I thought I'd have.
Yeah, and it's like my daughter's now she's going to be 9 in April, and I guess my wife told me that The Cure is going to go on tour again, and I haven't seen them in forever. They're one of those bands that I've seen a lot of times.
They're legends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's just like my daughter wants to go, right? And it's
perfect.
only because I want to go. She doesn't know any of the songs, and like the worst part is I'm building her up with the classics, which they probably won't even play, like The Forest and Boys Don't Cry and all this
Oh,
other.
they're absolutely playing that. I love The Forest. They will definitely play. I don't know about that, but they'll definitely be playing Boys Don't Cry and all that stuff.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
Hanging Garden, and
I don't know
anything
about
from
that.
the Kiss Me, anything from the Kiss Me,
Yeah.
the Doors sort of albums.
Hey, going to a Cure show is a heck of a lot better than being dragged to a Taylor Swift show. Good job.
I have been at sort of those concerts where it's like, why am I here?
So
Um,
have I. I've worked them. It's different.
my wife took me to, oh man, I can't even remember. Like, I got into the show and we were talking about like having the young kids.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't need to be here. Like, we literally like left the Stone Pony Summer Stage, and I'm like, I'm fine. I don't have to watch the band. I'm like,
I love that place. Yeah, I'm looking forward to their schedule this summer.
yeah, and I think they just came out with you can pre-order tickets for See Here Now.
Yeah, I'll wait to see who the headliner is.
Yeah, we pre-purchased last year, and we wound up giving our tickets away to my niece.
Okay.
Just it wasn't, and it's weird because like Culture Club, Boy George was there, which was
Green Day was the headliner.
some people love Green Day. I'm not that guy,
I've
right?
seen them. I like them, but I didn't need to see them again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I think and again, the last time we went was 2 years ago,
It
and
was Pearl Jam.
I
Yeah, I would
enjoyed
have loved
watching.
it.
Yeah, I didn't even watch Pearl Jam. We left by the time Pearl Jam, because you have to remember, I grew up. Pearl Jam was the opening band, for Smashing Pumpkins and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like that, like the first concert, first album before they, anybody even knew who they
Yep.
were. And I'm like,
Yep.
I'll never get that show again, right? So like,
No. No.
and it's like I enjoyed watching Matt and Kim.
Sure. They're a good band too. They're
Yeah,
fun.
they're just fun. It's
Something new.
I've been listening to a lot of Sophie Tucker recently, and I don't know if it's part of it's because like they're Portuguese or it's like I listen to Portugal the man, and they're from Alaska, right now living in Seattle and have nothing to do with Portugal, the country, and I'm just like
Yeah. It's
I love
wild.
them, love them.
I have no connection to any new music right now from new bands. I'm finding a hard time finding stuff I like right now. I like discovering old music that I never got into.
Same. I remember I started heavily listen to Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe I didn't really listen to this on heavy.
Yeah, I didn't do hip hop as a kid, like in high school, because it was all when grunge came out, I was 14, 15. I was all about that. And the hip hop I never got into.
So I was early hip hop, then got out, but they're like bands. Like yes, everybody listened to the Beastie Boys, but it was like I wasn't, it was more like the Cure, the Smiths, like all
I
that
love the Smiths.
Mode,
Yep.
Susie Sue and the Banshees and all that stuff. So
Yep, me too. I love them. FM 106.3 was the
yep.
station I grew up
There's a
on.
documentary on them.
Oh, was there?
There's a great documentary. They used to just buy albums directly from London.
I love that radio station. My buddy worked there for a while as a DJ in the early 2000s. That's the station where I got most of my music influence from. Loved it.
Who was your guy?
Brian Phillips. He did afternoons there. He worked with me at Z100, and then he did afternoons at that station when it was in Neptune in the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, and we could go on and on about radio.
Yep, we could. I love that station.
We'll save it for your third interview here.
I'm ready whenever you want.
We'll just talk music next time. But Josh, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep up the great work at Liberty Payroll. Don't ever forget, like we're fortunate for us. We're fortunate that we can give away money or help people that, not necessarily in need, but less fortunate or on hard times. So it's
all about. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Pete. I love talking to you.
Appreciate you, bud. I'll
Talk
talk
to
to
you
you
soon.
later, man. Bye.
Bye-bye.